Earlier, I stepped outside to enjoy the warmth and the sunshine. It's a bit humid right now. But anyway, I was looking at landscaping and making a mental list of what needed to be weeded or trimmed. And the bush closest to me, the one right behind me here, it's a bit wild. So that was first on my list to be trimmed. So I started to reach in and grab this dead branch that had fallen into the bush. But then at the very last second, it was like, ugh, pulled my hand back and my heart skipped a beat. It was just like, oh no. It was not a dead branch. It was a snake that had slithered up into the branches and it was just laying there sunbathing. I almost grabbed a snake. Now, I'm not a big fan of snakes. Logically, I know that it was just a harmless garter snake and it would not hurt me. Yet in the moment, my imagination, it was just running wild as I stood outside my bare feet and I just knew that that snake was going to do a slithery snake leap out of the bush, wrap itself around my feet and drag me into the bushes. And there in the bushes, I would die, not by snake bite or suffocation, but of fear. Pretty dramatic, right? I have quite the brain. I was trying to take a video or a picture of it, but I couldn't get close because I was still imagining the snake leaping from the bush and into my face. Yes, I feel fear with snakes. I, however, am also determined to face my fears if necessary. When I was about 12 years old, I was out playing in the field with a friend, and a couple of the neighbor boys found a snake. And what did they do? They started chasing us with it. We both started to run, but then I stopped. I turned around and I stared those boys down as they came running up to me, and they put that snake in my face and they rubbed it on my shoulders, but I would not respond. They got no emotion out of me. That was not the fun they were looking for, so off they went, chasing after my friend who knows, probably screamed and then kicked them flat. I don't remember that part. I only remember that because I didn't show fear. I was safe and the boys moved on. But was I ever really in danger? No. My fear back then and even now is of something that is not in the least bit dangerous. My brain makes up these wild scenarios of what might happen if I get too close. Here I sit with this bush still behind me. Yeah, right? Does that ever happen to you? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of getting close to? Maybe, like me, it's just a harmless critter, but I want you to think deeper. What is in your current situation that is inviting you to take a closer look? It may be that you need to get closer and explore a new opportunity. How about getting closer in a relationship? The relationship may be a business relationship, or it might be with your significant other, a friend, or someone you don't even really know right now, but would like to. So what's holding you back? Maybe it's your relationship with God. What belief do you have that is keeping you from getting closer? Or maybe, just maybe, it's your relationship with you. What's holding you back from exploring your own heart? The invitation is there. Get closer. Now, your heart may immediately respond, nope, not going there. Been there, done that, and I'm not doing it again. And your own brain may jump out and drag you into the bushes. Not to die like with my snake imagination, but to keep you safe. Your brain may give you all the reasons why you should stay away. It will point out every obstacle and remind you of all the times you got hurt and every single time you tried and failed. It was like, don't dream, accept life as it is. Don't try to improve your health or your marriage or other relationships. You'll just try and fail, just like you always have. If you start hearing any of these things, stop the dialogue. Just stop. It's fear talking. You may find anger and pain mixed in it all as well. Just know that your brain will do whatever it can to protect your heart. It's doing its job. It will remind you of all the past hurts, failures, and losses. It will weigh the risks and the possibility, and they'll find the risk is high. It will do whatever it can to keep you safe. Now hear me, fear is not bad. It is not wrong. It is an emotion used to help us to take action when there is a real threat, when there is real danger. Fear creates this energy that helps us survive, and we can respond with fight, flight, or freeze. If, however, we take this intense energy of fear into our daily life where there is no real threat to our survival, it's going to wear us down physically, emotionally, socially, even spiritually. What is meant to protect ultimately creates a prison. And with constant fear, it will be a challenge to live life of gratitude, joy, and an abundance of blessings and goodness. It will stop us from getting closer to new opportunities, closer to new relationships, closer to the desires of your own heart. And guess what? That's where you start, with your heart. What does your heart really want? Not your brain, your heart. I want you to get close and explore. What is it your heart really wants? Now, if you are afraid of getting closer, start by answering these questions. First, what is the story of your heart that's creating this fear? Next, what belief do you have because of this story? And then I want you to challenge this belief with, is it really true? And finally, what if the opposite is true? Now, it's okay to tell your story of hurt, pain, and loss, or whatever. These are the stories your heart remembers and is bringing into the present. I want you to remember it and then deal with it, okay? Here's my example from my own personal heart story. My dad, Dr. Dick Versendaal, he was a genius at understanding how the body works together as a whole. And he developed a technique called contact reflex analysis, which he taught to health professionals for over 50 years, all around the world. I taught with him. I grew up with the work and I taught with him for many years. But then in 2014, he was killed in an auto accident. Needless to say, my heart was broken, shredded. I didn't want to teach without him. I didn't believe I could endure that pain of being up in front of the docs without him. My heart grieved and remembered all the years of life together. And guess what? A belief took root. It was that I could not teach without my dad and that CRA could not go on without him. I had to ask myself, Dawn, is this really true? Then, Dawn, what if the opposite is true? What if I could teach without my dad? What if CRA could go on without my dad? And then, what would it look like? I started dreaming and creating from the space in my heart. And as I dreamed and created, I bumped up against fear and false beliefs many times. I had to challenge each one as it was revealed with the what if? What if the opposite is true? I'm still a work in progress. But I want to tell you, many of those things I dreamed about, some of which I dreamed about when my dad was still alive, thought I'd do it with him, but now have been created. And I'm living the reality that I dreamed. And now I'm dreaming bigger. So what about you? Who or what is calling you to get closer? What's the opportunity or relationship you need to explore, okay? If the so-called opportunity or relationship creates a real danger to your survival, I want you to stay away. I'm not even talking about that. I'm not talking about entering bad relationships or even making life-altering decisions based on the results of a horse race or a too good to be true offering from a snake oil salesman. Not talking about that. I'm talking about those obstacles that keep you from living your best life. These obstacles may actually be invitations to get close, to explore new opportunities, to do something different, to make a change. Yet you may be too afraid. When you feel afraid to get closer to any obstacle or opportunity, let's look at it that way. First, remember the story of your heart. I want you to go into that space. You can scream, you can shout, you can cry, and then you're going to come out, you're going to dry your tears, and then it's time to develop solutions and create something new. Ask yourself 4 questions, okay? Spend time on each one. First, what belief is creating the fear? 2, is that belief true? 3, what if the opposite is true? And what would your world look like if you imagined and created and took action from this new space in your heart and brain? Play with that idea. What if what you are imagining could actually happen? I want you to get closer. I want you to dream big and then dream bigger. It is in the space of no fear that you can get closer and start to create something beautiful and new. I want you to begin today.